Okay, episode 08, rumors. Where to begin? Okay, so, just something that I should note. Whenever normal Lain, goes into Wire, she always looks pissed off. And, now, well, up until like halfway point of this episode, it's normal Lain just having her persona, her internet persona. Like I mentioned before, everybody has an internet persona that's completely different than how they normally act. And up until halfway point, it's just her with that personality. We'll get into which it is later. Now at 6, she starts talking about her parents. She asks her parents, "Hey, these people at Tachibana, they asked me this weird question about my parents. Like, oh, like when's your birthday? Blah blah blah. Blah, how they meet, and they don't answer. And well, I guess you could say they didn't want to deny it because their role in the whole thing was trying to release Lain, like have her show her true powers. So her coming to this realization, they're just playing along with it. Now, whether or not they actually, want to do it, I don't really think so. But that's their job. They get paid to do it, and that's saying you gotta get paid. So they just did it, even though they looked very upset doing it. So they never blatantly admit it, but they're like, all right, I'm doing my job, but I'm doing it my way, type of deal. Now at 10 o'clock, when the voice talks, that's Eri, that's the false god. Pretty much everything he says is a lie. So totally disregard pretty much everything he says. It's just because he's just trying to manipulate Lain and all this stuff. At 13:30, this is like after Lane's walking around the school and everyone's just staring at her. I thought it was a little bit exaggerated, but you get the idea. 13:30, that's evil Lain smiling, obviously. Now at 16, this is when Lain starts finally like realizing her powers. All right, at 16, she's in bed. She's looking at these wires, and she essentially takes her normal self and goes into the wire. First time she ever really uses her power knowingly. And something to note, kind of cool actually. I haven't really thought too much of it. I've heard it mentioned before, but the bear suit. She actually wears the bear suit, and then like it comes off. So people have said that the bear suit represents her going into a protective shell, and I never really thought about it that much until now. And that's definitely right, because she's totally in a protective shell, and now she's going into unknown territory, at least from as far as she knows. Now, and then she goes talking to Eri again, and it's all lies basically. And she goes talking to evil Lain, and at this point, when she starts choking evil Lain, this is when normal Lain and sassy Lain, they start like working together type of deal, because sassy Lain is just choking her, and then there's like the Lain that like before the bear after the bear suit she became purple. That's normal Lain. Normal Lain is just, she's like watching from like, and kind of like telling sassy Lain what to do. They're both the same person, but hopefully you're getting my drifts here. So sassy Lane's doing it, and she's like, oh, like pissed off, blah, 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 being sassy Lain. But then normal Lain is like she pops up later, and she's like, oh, looking all like worried and stuff like that. And then evil Lain, she's like, whatever. So that's when they full start working together, and then from now on in the later episodes, it kind of gets a little bit difficult to decide, to figure out which one's which, because basically they join forces, you could say. Okay, at 20, now it was one thing that kind of worked good in Lane's favor from learning from Eri is the fact that she can use her powers to pretty much delete history, and she does it. But evil Lain shows up, and she's like, "Oh, you may try to delete these things, but I'm still gonna go around and do it either way." So like, yeah, it's like, you could fix something, but what's the point of fixing it when the next day the same thing that broke it's gonna break it again? So that was that's pretty much what's going on with Evil Lain just being a real jerk about the whole situation. And I mean, Evil Lain. Okay, so Evil Lain was using. Well, you could say Evil Lain was using Eri a bit. You know, I'm not even gonna get into that right now. Sorry, guys. I'm not. It's just basically everything Eri said was a lie. At the end of the day. Okay, yeah, I know they're getting a little shorter than usual, but I've covered a lot of the core fundamentals in the previous episode, previous videos. So a lot of things I feel like I don't need to explain anymore. So that is episode 08 Rumors.